On September 3, 1983, the Treaty of Paris was signed officially, ending the American Revolution. 13 colonies have won their independence from England.
Hooray, freedom!
Now we can govern ourselves.
Are we ready? The new country was called the United States of America, but it was not united. Each state had its own leaders and its own government.
Shouldn't someone be in charge here?
We just got
rid of King George. We don't want anyone telling us what to do. Who am I, a Virginian or an American?
The country operated under a document called the Articles of Confederation. This political system gave the national government very little power. Each state took care of its own business.
I love being my own boss.
But without a strong nation government, the state has problems. When I go to Rhode Island, they won't take my money.
Of course not. Your money's worthless here.
Then how can we do business with each other? Speaking of business, I want to sell goods to you.
Don't we need a treaty? Who can negotiate for all of us? How can we decide once and for all who owns what? New Hampshire's trying to claim my land, and that belongs to me. Not true. That land belongs to me. Two ships have the right to sail on the Potomac River, yours or mine. Maybe it's time we sat down to talk about things. In September 1986, delegates from Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, New Jersey, and New York gathered in Annapolis, Maryland, and discussed the problems among the states. We're like a monster with 13 heads.
I want to go that far. We're more like a blind octopus with 13 arms.
The Articles of Confederation make the national government helpless and hopeless. Need a government that works.
But we only have 5 states represented here. What can we do?
We can call another convention. We can ask everyone to come and help revise the Articles of Confederation. That's an excellent idea. Let's meet in Pennsylvania where the St. Paul the Declaration of Independence was signed.
The convention began on May 25th, 1787. 12 states sent delegates.
But not me. I have nothing to do. I don't want anything to do with this suspicious nonsense.
Say, General George Washington, you know this meeting is important if he's here.
Everybody admires the general. Let's put him in charge of this assembly.
As president of the convention, Washington sat in a beautiful hall chair, and he had a front row seat for all the arguments.
I feel like a prisoner. There's a guard outside.
Stop complaining. Do you want the whole country to know we're changing the government? There were no meetings with the press. The delegates voted to keep their conversations private behind locked doors.
Virginia had an idea. An idea so different, it would have to replace the Articles of Confederation rather than revise them. I am proud to propose the Virginia Plan. It's a government with 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial.
The Virginia Plan called for a new way of thinking. The states would have to give up some of their individual power in favor of strong national government.
Did you see how the votes in Congress will be decided?
Sure, the number of delegates will be based on population. What's wrong with that?
If you have more delegates, you'll have more votes.
But you're not even half my size. Why should you have the same number of votes? Without equal representation, my vote will be ignored. But this country should be governed by the people. That means states with more people should have more say in Congress.
My citizens are just as important as yours.
My ears hurt.
Seriously, guys, if we can't agree on anything, how can we all stay in one state?
But we could have even bigger problems if we break apart.
Will the United States of America survive?
The big states and the small states argued for weeks. George Washington and many of the delegates became discouraged. Finally, the Connecticut delegation had an idea.
If we have Congress with 2 houses, we can have 2 kinds of representation.
What do you mean? Tell us more.
Let's compromise. The House of Representatives can be based on population. The Senate can have 2 delegates for every state.
So every state, no matter how small, can have 2 votes in the Senate. But states with more people have more delegates in the House of Representatives. I can live with that.
I can too.
A major hurdle has been overcome. The delegates now have a framework for a new constitution, but there were still many other decisions to be made.
How long should the president's term in office be? What should the Congress be in charge of?
What about power? Who will have the most? The president, Congress, or the Supreme Court?
What if Congress passes bad laws? How will we stop them?
Hold on. If someone has too much power, we're right back to where we started, fighting tyranny.
The powers among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches are carefully separated and balanced in the new Constitution.
I won't sign this document if you take all my power. What about the state government?
Calm down. The Constitution still allows us to make laws to meet our local needs of our people.
But the Constitution will be the supreme law of the land, and we won't be allowed to pass a law that conflicts with it.
The government's worried about many details of the new code. In the end, they realized that no document could be made perfect for all future generations.
We need a way to make changes to the Constitution to take care of problems that don't exist yet.
True, but if we all have to agree on each change, we could be for big trouble.
The Constitution says changes will become law if ratified by 3/4 of states.
On September 17, 1787, the United States Constitution was signed by the representatives of 12 states. The ratification process was lengthy, but eventually all 13 states approved the Constitution. A new government was born.
Okay, now.
The United States of America.
United at last and ready to govern ourselves.
Woo!